This actually may be keeping Biden's team up at night, among other things. But I'm talking about the latest poll numbers that are coming out of New York Times, of all places. The New York Times, guys. And so it literally just set off all sorts of fresh alarm bells. The president, as he struggles to catch up with former President Donald Trump in the key battleground states that will ultimately decide November's elections, guys. So the poll found that Donald Trump is leading in count them, 5 out of 6 swing states, with Wisconsin the only place where Joe Biden's actually ahead. But really, what's more concerning for Joe Biden is that the poll found that the president is losing support among young voters and Black and Hispanic voters, all of whom he needs in his coalition to win re-election. It's just not going to happen if he doesn't get those votes. Now, even CNN's Harry Enton, who specializes in polling data, he said that the New York Times numbers out of the Sunbelt states of Nevada and Arizona, they were an absolute disaster. So what's Joe Biden's strategy? Deny, deny, deny. Now, according to some inside sources, President Joe Biden does not believe his bad poll numbers, and neither do a lot of his advisors. In fact, in public and in private, Joe Biden has been basically telling anybody who's willing to listen to him in between licks of ice cream cones, that he's gaining ground and is probably up on Donald Trump in the rematch from 2020. Now, what do you guys think? What do you think, guys? By the way, before we really get into this thing, all I ask is that you take 1 second, hit the like button for the video. Totally appreciate you guys. You guys are amazing. I want to thank you for subscribing to the channel. Thank you for sharing these videos. Your support means the world to me, and it really does help us get the truth out, folks. But getting back to it, it's all coming back to bite Joe Biden, Brandon in the butt. But just recently, President Joe Biden, he sparked a wave of backlash over his comments on the rampant inflation affecting millions of Americans, as he oddly stated, he said that Americans have the money to spend. Now, I don't want to put words into your mouth, but do all Americans have money to spend, or is this economy tightening or choking out the average American? You guys let me know, because many accuse the president of being just completely clueless with this kind of remark. But as always, I leave the judgment to you guys. But is Joe Biden truly tone deaf to what American people are facing nowadays? I mean, it's all about the tale of two presidents. And we got a lot to cover today, guys. But first, just to kind of catch everybody up on what's keeping up the Biden team at night, you got the latest New York poll numbers that are definitely keeping up Joe Biden's team. And it's showing that Donald Trump is in the lead in most of the battleground states. Take a listen.
We are watching the direct examination of Trump's former lawyer, Michael Cohen, the trial hindering Trump's campaign efforts, but not stopping them. If you saw it, you know what we're talking about. The former president held a massive rally in Deep Blue, New Jersey. Full disclosure, yes, that's my home state. It happened over the weekend, and I wear a lot of red there, and white and blue, all the colors, but that state is cobalt. A crowd reported in the tens of thousands came out to hear Trump's message for America.
Whether you're a Republican, conservative, independent, or even a registered Democrat, I'm asking for your help in saving America. Our country's in trouble. We don't have to agree on everything, but we can agree that we want strong borders, not open borders. We want the American dream, not the Biden inflation nightmare.
You know, Trump boldly requested the support of Democrats. That's a big deal, and the crowd responded.
Rally did not have the Biden campaign concerned. I'm sure they're staying up at night over these new poll numbers. They show Trump leading in 5 battleground states, all of which Biden won in 2020. So that would be a flip, including a double-digit lead in Georgia and Nevada. Trump touted those polls just today outside the courthouse.
So thank you very much. Greatly appreciate you being here. The New York Times just came out with a poll that shows us leading everywhere by a lot. This is the cover story, and I think you'll find it very interesting, but I'm sure you've all read it. leading in Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Arizona, Michigan, Georgia, and Nevada. Nevada, we are leading actually by 12 points, which is generally a Democrat state. I think we're probably leading in New Jersey.
Oh my goodness.
So I gotta ask you guys, is it Nevada or is it Nevada? I always say Nevada. Anyway, so I guess it goes to show Americans may be sick of being broke and having a geriatric patient as a president. But I mean, what do you guys think? But yeah, so a recent poll from the New York Times, it's not looking great for President Biden as he trails behind former President Donald Trump in several crucial battleground states, guys. And remember, these states are pretty much the key to winning the election this November. So definitely something to kind of mull over, if you know what I mean. Now, Trump is ahead in 5 out of the 6 swing states, with Wisconsin, the lone state, the only state where Joe Biden is actually ahead. So, and what's more concerning for Biden is his losing support among voters and Black and Hispanic voters. They're all crucial supporters if he wants to be able to secure a second term in the Oval Office. Now, Democrats, they're all up in a panic. They're trying to figure out their best point, you know, and basically they're coming up short. You know, they're trying their best to kind of point out that it's just one poll with the election like still a good 6 months away. Yet even Joe Biden supporters are acknowledging that there's some serious ground that he has to make up. You got Jim Kessler from the far left leaning think tank called Third Way suggests that Joe Biden needs to sharpen his policies on the border, crime, and inflation issues if he hopes to turn things around. But basically, the president, he needs to be in a much better place on border, crime, and inflation in order to win, according to Kessler. Here's my thing, though, guys. We've already seen Joe Biden and his take on the border. I wouldn't trust, like, even if Joe Biden closed the border tonight, right? Even if Joe Biden closed the border tonight or first thing in the morning, I wouldn't trust him, because why did it take you so long to do it? He's leaving the borders open for a very clear reason. And if he suddenly closed the border, it would simply mean, look, I'm just trying to get votes. The border's closed. Vote for me now. No, dude, it doesn't work that way. You had all the time in the world. Matter of fact, you opened the borders the day you got into office. You remove one of Donald Trump's border policies to enable the border to be open in the first place. So we already knew you wanted them open. Anyway, apparently he doesn't have the power to close the borders. He can't issue executive actions or anything, but he sure could open them up. Anyway, Catherine Segrin, thank you so much for the $1 super chat. I appreciate your support. God bless you. So Harry Enton from CNN, who specializes in polling data, he pointed out that the numbers from Nevada and Arizona, they're particularly worrying to Joe Biden. And I think I understand why, right? I mean, he even called the New York Times numbers out of the Sun Belt states of Nevada and Arizona an absolute disaster. It's embarrassing for Joe Biden. And clearly, this would keep him up at night. This would keep me up at night. I mean, his numbers have fallen off of a cliff, especially for Black and Hispanic voters, which he needs in order to win this thing here in 2024. Though there is a silver lining in Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin for the president. Enton thinks that these particular states could still form a more traditional blue wall for Joe Biden in order to clinch the victory. But let's be honest, guys. Right now, Trump, he's got the edge. He's got the edge. Now, try as they might, Democrats, they just cannot seem to slow down Donald Trump. Despite Donald Trump's legal entanglements, as we like to call them, entanglements, right? Even with the strong economic factors from the White House, he's still been polling surprisingly well. Letitia James, Attorney General Letitia James, Fani Willis, DA Alvin Bragg, and Jack Smith, none of them can really hold this guy down. Battleground polling has for months shown Donald Trump as beating Biden. And take note, guys, Republican strategist Ford O'Connell points out that what's really impressive about this is the polls. Think about this, guys. The polls have historically underestimated Donald Trump's support. They haven't overestimated it. So basically, these are very conservative numbers for Donald Trump, and yet he's winning in all of these states. So in reality, things are likely even worse for Joe Biden. And if we add to that the nearly 100,000 people showing up for Donald Trump in the Arctic Blue, New Jersey, O'Connell is saying that this is a complete disaster for Joe Biden. All right. Now, what's more is that the poll goes on to show a very sharp decline in Biden's support among Black voters compared to his 2020 performance. And he's barely ahead with Hispanic and young voters who he won over the last time by large margins. But apparently the tides are changing. So the poll conducted by the Times, Siena College, and Philadelphia Inquirer, they found that Joe Biden is leading Donald Trump among Black voters 63% to 23%, which would be a significant decrease. I mean, like just a massive fall from the 87% of voters, from the 87% of Black voters who voted for Biden back in 2020. That is a huge collapse. That's a huge collapse. And it's likely to keep getting worse as we get closer to November. And again, keep in mind, these poll numbers, they're generally very conservative for Donald Trump. So it's actually probably much worse. All right. So the poll also found that Donald Trump and Biden, they're only narrowly separated with Hispanic voters and with voters that are aged 18 to 29 years old. Both groups, Biden won by double digits in 2020. The gap is getting real narrow here. And there's been a big dip in enthusiasm among Black voters who were very key to Biden's win in Georgia last time around. You got Democrats. Democrats are saying that the poll numbers, they're not showing the full picture. Okay. Democrats are saying that they admit that there's still more that they need to do to connect with this important voter group, but they're not showing the full picture. Okay, sure. All right. So they're saying that they can still catch up, but I don't know, guys. I don't know. Do you think the Democrats going to catch up? You think Biden's going to be able to pull a lot of this audience back in? You guys let me know. So Biden's been having a tough time with a lot of voters feeling super frustrated about what's going on with the war in Gaza, where a lot of Palestinians have died as Israeli forces target Hamas. And there's also widespread anxiety over the economy with rising prices of gas, groceries, and other essentials. I mean, stuff's getting rough out here. And folks are looking at Biden like, dude, like, what happened, man? Like, you were supposed to be helping us out with the economy. You promised us this, you promised us that. Nothing happened. And then you're trying to tell us that the economic numbers, the GDP numbers are not what we should trust. The numbers, the poll numbers are off. Americans have money. A lot of Americans don't have money, Mr. Biden. So maybe you're a little bit out of touch. Enoch was the first prophet. Thank you so much, my friend, for the $2 super chat this evening. Enoch says, everybody knows that victory in Georgia was fake. I want y'all to chime in. Are you guys with Enoch on this one? Do you guys think that the victory in Georgia for Biden back in 2020 was fake? Let me know in the comments. Just type in fake if you think it's fake. If you think it's real, if you think the win was real, type in real. Type in real. Anyway, so Vince Galco, a GOP strategist from Pennsylvania, he put it very, very simply, very plainly, saying that it's gas prices, it's being able to put food on the table, it's being able to put food on the shelves, being able to go to the store and buy what you want to buy for your family. And you just can't do it in a lot of places. It's hard. Wanted to give a quick shout out and thank you to Jacob Bartlett. Appreciate you, my man. God bless you, sir. Jacob says, it isn't the votes that matter. It is the people whom are counting them that matters. You know, that's a very good point, because the votes came in 2020, but it was all about who counted them that really, really mattered. So that's a massive oversight that flew under the radar in 2020. Hopefully this doesn't happen again in 2024. Jacob Bartlett, appreciate the super chat. Thank you for the support for the channel and an incredible comment that you made today. So thank you so much, sir. But yeah, guys, the situation in Gaza is especially tricky for Biden. I mean, because look at all the protests across the United States, all these different college, universities, Berkeley. I mean, like these universities, these students, they're clearly not happy, and many of these students they're voting age, and Biden's pissing them all off, and he needs them. And that population is shrinking according to the poll numbers. Even CNN's warning him, but Joe Biden, he's in denial, and he's suffering these massive falls in his political support from key demographics, and yet he remains in denial. Quick shout out and thank you to Cowboy Rob. Thank you so much, my friend, for the $5 super chat. Cowboy Rob Cowboy Rob says, is a great man once said, to be the man, you got to beat the man. Guess what? Joe Biden ain't the man. Appreciate you, man. Oh, man. I don't know how many times I said man in that one. 1, 2, 3, 4 mans. And then I said, appreciate you, man. That's 5. Anyway, appreciate the support, my man. Thank you so much. That's number 6. Anyway, so the situation in Gaza is especially tricky for Joe Biden because it could push younger voters and those who lean Democratic to either ditch him altogether or just not bother to show up in November. It's like, look, I don't want, some of these Democratic voters, they may say, look, I'm a Democratic voter. I'm not going to vote for Trump, but I'm not going to support Biden. Well, that's a vote that Biden's going to lose out on. So this is a big problem for him. And so, it's a pretty difficult balancing act for the White House and for Joe Biden's team, if you ask me. They're both trying to urge Israel to better protect civilians and to ensure more aid gets into Gaza, while at the same time they're stressing their unwavering support for Israel after the attacks by Hamas last October. So, so what does the Biden team do, right? They just deny the polls and they try to brush the poll numbers off as just some momentary snapshots pointing out that the election is still months away. Not a smart move, sir. Not a smart move. This is a big mistake for Joe Biden, if you ask me. I mean, but see, here's the thing about Trump supporters, okay? Here's the thing about Trump supporters, and this has got to be some really scary data for Biden to kind of think about. Typically, what we see with Trump supporters is once they're awakened and they're supporting Trump, nobody really leaves. Did you guys notice that? Like Biden, he'll get some supporters, but over time, we've seen a lot of his supporters leave. But with Donald Trump, I don't really see that revolving door, so to speak, with him anyway. So that's just what I've seen. What do y'all think on that? HF says that's crazy. $7 for bread. Jesus, man. But this is why Donald Trump supporters are already calling it. They're already saying that, they're already smelling a Trump landslide for 2024. What do y'all think? Y'all think we're going to see a Donald Trump landslide for 2024? Hit me up, y'all. Let me know in the comments what are you predicting? By the way, if you haven't already, please do your boy a favor, hit the like button. It means a lot to me. It helps out the channel. It helps push out the message. We got to get the truth out, folks. We got to get our country back. All you truth seekers out there, appreciate the support. You guys are absolutely phenomenal. So let's talk about Biden's outright denial of these poll results and exactly why he's being called clueless about what's happening to working class Americans. All right. So first off, Daniel Salich says it's going to be an earthquake. He said, forget the landslide. It's going to be an earthquake. So first off, a lot of people close to Biden have confirmed that Biden is just simply trying to deny what the polls are saying. They say that President Biden doesn't believe his bad poll numbers, and neither do many of his closest advisors. Something that could be a problem when you surround yourself with a bunch of yes men. You know what I mean? Like, I don't need a bunch of yes men. I need people to support me if you agree. But if you disagree with what I'm doing, or if you disagree with the data that I'm reviewing, let me know you disagree. Let's not keep going down the wrong path. You know, all egos aside, like, is this thing working or is it not? You know what I'm saying? And that's the problem. That's one of the problems that Biden has in his camp. Got a bunch of yes men, you know, and that's not going to work. It's not going to work. And you can see this kind of thinking behind Biden's largely steady as she goes campaign, even as many Democrats outside the White House are essentially agitating for the campaign to change directions, you know, given that Biden's polling numbers is well behind where he was 4 years ago. But no, you know, he's going to keep on doing what he wants to do. Biden is, you know, I don't know if it's an ego thing. Is he too, you know, big headed about, you know, the direction that he's headed in? I don't know what it is, but it looks like Donald Trump is definitely gaining some significant ground in spite of all these fake lawsuits, all these fake court cases that Biden has thrown his way. So it's quite incredible to watch. But instead, in public and in private, Joe Biden, he's been telling anybody and everyone who's willing to listen to him that he's gaining ground and that he's probably up on Donald Trump in the rematch from 2020. I don't know if I can agree with that. I don't think that he's really up on Donald Trump. I think that the poll numbers, like I said, the poll numbers are traditionally understating Donald Trump's position. So realistically, Donald Trump's actually probably doing better off than what the polls are reporting. Now, a few days earlier, when Biden was confronted with some of his bad poll numbers in a rare interview with CNN, get this, he even said that it was the polling data that was wrong. Now, again, CNN, they normally side with Biden. CNN's typically left-leaning. CNN is telling Biden, look, dog, your poll numbers are down. Biden's like, nah, the polls are wrong. Wait, all the polls? There's like 30 polls that have been taken. They're all wrong? Yeah, they're all wrong. So he said the polling data has been wrong all along. He questioned CNN about how many guys do a poll and then how many folks do they have to call to get one response. I don't think that matters. I think that when you do a poll, however many times it takes to get in contact with someone, that's an irrelevant figure. When they vote, they vote. If they're not supporting you, they're not supporting you. So the poll numbers are no less accurate, even if it took them 4 phone calls to reach the person, to get the person to answer the phone to participate in the poll. So that's almost a stupid argument. You know what I mean? It's ridiculous. Anyway, Jacob Bartlett, thank you so much, my man, for the $5 super chat. Jacob says Biden believes if he speaks it enough times, people will believe what he says. That's probably what it is. You know, beat the phrase into people's heads ad nauseum until they submit and they're like, oh yeah. Just go with what he says, so the guy shuts up. Anyway, but some Democrats think that Joe Biden's team is just straight up in denial about the polling and the sleep, and they're sleepwalking themselves into defeat. And they're saying that old Biden needs to stop listening to the squad. Now, on the other hand, you got, the Biden team that's convinced the country that will not reelect Donald Trump once they face the choice in November. So basically they're saying that the country is not going to actually vote for Joe. They're not actually going to vote for Donald Trump in November. They're saying it's just all talk. It's all hype. All the polls are wrong right now. But we're going to see. We're going to see. They're going to learn today. But let's see, guys. Ultimately, voters will decide which side is right for them. I never tell you guys what side to vote for. I wouldn't want anyone telling me what side to vote for. But I think a lot of folks are waking up now. But if you ask voters, a lot of voters are not happy with Biden. Economically, from a border policy, from the illegal migration policy standpoint, from Israel, Gaza, Hamas standpoint. A lot of folks are upset, and they're also saying, like, they're definitely not happy with Biden saying that people have money to spend these days, as if everyone's balling out of control. Not like you, Biden. Not like you and your son's secret business that's raking in tens, if not hundreds of millions of dollars off your name for your position. Yeah, we're not all in your position, Mr. Biden. Anyway, Enoch was the first prophet. Thank you so much, my friend, for the $5 super chat again this evening. Appreciate the support, sir. Enoch says Biden voters are atheists. Trump voters are God-fearing. It's a choice which direction to go with. God first forever. I appreciate your comment, man. I appreciate your comment. Thank you, man. But get this, guys. So Joe Biden sparked a whole wave of backlash over his comments on the whole rampant inflation affecting millions of Americans. There's a little bit of insensitivity there, and I think a lot of Americans are getting upset about that. It's like, dang, dude, like, okay, you're like at the top of the socioeconomic ladder, pretty much being the president of the United States, and you're just completely disconnected from the average everyday American, whose vote, by the way, you need to stay in office. People don't like that. But yeah, he sparked a wave of backlash over his comments on the rampant inflation affecting millions of Americans, as he oddly stated that they have the money to spend. Even though savings rates are down significantly compared to like pre-pandemic numbers, the average American, I was reading, doesn't even have $1,000 to handle an unexpected emergency. The average American does not have $1,000 laying around to handle an unexpected emergency. I mean, does this sound like your situation? I don't know. But this is what I read on a personal finance blog. And this personal finance blog was saying that the average American doesn't have $1,000 set aside in like an emergency fund for an unexpected expense, whether it's a vehicle repair, a leaky roof, or an unexpected deductible for a medical expense, whatever the case may be. Most Americans would have to pull out their American Express card or their Visa card, their credit card, in order to cover this expense. They'd have to put it on a credit card. They'd have to go into debt, or they'd have to take out some kind of loan, whether it's a payday loan or whatnot. So that doesn't sound to me like Americans are, doing as well as Joe Biden wants us to think. I mean, within the opening 3 months of 2024, the American economy registered an annual growth rate of barely 1.6%, which, mind you, was significantly below the growth that we saw in the third quarter before that. Inflation, let's not forget about inflation. Inflation is still stubbornly high, above 3%, well exceeding the Federal Reserve's 2% target. And whatever happened to the Fed rate cut that we were promised? Oh, interest rates are going to come down. The Fed's going to cut interest rates in 2024. Man, Fed Chair Jerome Powell, he didn't cut anything. So, but if you ask Biden, he would say that people have the money to spend, everybody's straight, and you can imagine the kind of backlash that the president got for this. I mean, people on X/Twitter, they question whether President Joe Biden really knew the hardships that were faced by everyday Americans. One user commented on X, most people don't have the money because they're honest, unlike pathological lying Joe. Another person had commented, adding how Biden is the most clueless president in our country. He's the most clueless president this country has ever had, and that this is the way that history is going to remember him. That's not what you want to see as a campaigning president from the audience, from your constituents, right? And another user said that the man is out of touch with everything. How many of you guys think JB or Biden is out of touch with everything? Y'all let me know. And so get this, guys. In the same interview where he said, Biden said that he's also feeling good about the trajectory of the campaign, according to him, most people don't really focus and they make up their mind. They don't make up their mind until fall. Now, I got to ask you guys, based on what Joe Biden says, he says most people don't make up their mind on who they're going to vote for until fall. I mean, we're live right now. So I'm going to ask you right now, are you going to wait until fall to decide who you're going to vote for? Or do you already know who you're going to vote for right now? Y'all can let me know in the comments. But I don't know, guys. I mean, this definitely sounds like somebody who could literally be sleepwalking his way into a massive loss this November. You know, let me know your take on this, on Biden's re-election strategy and Donald Trump's rising poll numbers. What do you think? A lot of y'all are hollering out Trump in the comments. It doesn't look like you guys are waiting till November to make a decision. It looks like your minds are already made up. So I think Biden's going to be in for a rude awakening, and this could be some of the worst news he's gotten all year. Anyway, guys, if you haven't already, please hit the like button for the video. I hope you appreciate today's show. If you haven't already, make sure to check out my previous video. I'll try to remember to leave a link in the down below so you can check out my previous video. Thanks so much for sharing these videos with your friends and family. Thank you for subscribing to the channel, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care.